Okay, Michael, Adonai, Priscilla, and Esther. Let's go over your rough draft and then y'all can work together on Wednesday. Keep in mind, this is due next Tuesday night. I will open the link to turn it in by this Friday. I would suggest you do everything that I'm asking you to do because my goal is for everybody to get a 200, but I can only speak for myself. I mean, I'm there to help you do that. And if you turn it in, if you're wondering whether or not you want to take the final exam on Wednesday, I'd give me 2 days turnaround to get it back to you. Obviously, if you turn it in on Friday, you're probably going to get it back sooner than if you turn it in Tuesday night. And some of the, like I said, on Wednesday during your class with Coach Duffield, you'll take the final exam only if you want to. And if you read the directions for this week, I told you that there is something that you need to submit prior to that. I have not opened the link to that yet. I don't think. I need to go back and look. But it's strictly voluntary, but it's a good way for you to earn 100 extra points. Obviously, if you have an A, you don't, you're done after you're finished with this project. So then you'll know what your grade is probably by the weekend if you get it in before the weekend. So you may not want to take it, but for people who might, you're marginal, you want to bump it from a C to a B or a B to an A, uh, that is something I would do to see if I could improve my grade. Again, it's up to you. It is a timed test. So you have to take it, you have to finish it there in the room with Coach Duffield. Okay, so what it says here, this paper's margins and indentations are largely incorrect. You should have a 1-inch margin before you go to hanging indent. Pay close attention to the notes written in the margins. Also, under paragraph check, do not add a space between paragraphs of the same style. Now, I would just put over here, I would put ace. For some reason, it's not showing you that. Let me look. It's not showing my notations. Hold on just a moment. Okay, yeah, this format's kind of different from my other Cami one, but y'all should be able to get into this without any problems because you've got Chromebook, your school district is all about Google, so you could open it and see what it's telling you. I do want to show you how to set up your margins. Go back here. I do not want to do that. Let me stop that for just a second. Okay, once you, whoever your person is who's on the point here, maybe I'm thinking maybe Esther. What I want you to do is go, and I know that it's kind of hard to do because you really don't have anything here. Let me see if I can find one that I just worked on. Mm. Okay, this is an actual one. This is the works cited. But let me just say, let's play like this is, we've already done the preface. The critical preface, we've done our heading and all that up there. Okay, and probably your preface will go at least down to, let's say, there. And then you put everybody's in here. And what's going to happen is you're going to have some people whose theirs go way over here and they're all out of alignment. So what I want you to do, starting with this, you don't want to do it on your critical preface because it is not, yeah, because it's not hanging and divided. But I want you to go, oh goodness, okay, let me try it again. Don't even do the title there. Okay, right click and go to paragraph. Now, make sure it's on left. Make sure that all of these are at 0. So you could actually type it in if you want to. Okay, it's double spaced. That's good. You're going to make it hanging indented. All right, and then you're going to click on, don't add space between paragraphs of the same style. You probably heard me say, or some of you have heard me say, you've got too much space in between your sources. That's because you didn't check this. It's not a full line, but it makes it look like there are 3 lines instead of 2. All right, so here you go. And all right, so this actually worked okay. I was writing down how many words these are. But you would still, underneath this, the first line is indented. So hit tab, and then everything else goes under here. See? Again, this. And then hit tab again. And then all of this is there. Make sure that nothing goes to the left of this 1-inch margin. Okay. All right. So let me go over. Well, it looks like you didn't see a thing I just showed y'all. I'm so sorry. But let's just play like this is the annotated bibliography part of your annotated bibliography. And you have your header up here. You have your last name here with the page number. You have your critical preface. You first of all have the title, then critical preface. Then you write your critical preface, which will probably take almost a page or 3/4 of a page. And then you can go ahead and highlight that. And then you're going to put everybody's back together again. Now, I don't know how y'all want to do that, if there's an easier way, but I would suggest on Wednesday, all of you go back to your own personal drawing board and work on the things that I'm telling you that you need to work on. And I would highly suggest that you read each other's and you read it out loud, even if you're sitting by yourself and you're whispering. It helps to read out loud. That is the only way that I can catch mistakes, because if my eyes do the reading and I'm not hearing it, it doesn't really help me. I'll read right over the mistakes again and again and again and never catch them. So anyway, once you do this, and y'all got so many errors, you need to, starting with the first source, I wouldn't put annotated bibliography in it because it needs to stay centered, but I would highlight all of this, and I would make sure, go to your paragraph, make sure this is set at 0. Okay, and I think your Dallas College one has 4 boxes over here. They have 2, and then these 2 are beside it. You're going to do hanging indent. And this is what this is not checked normally, but you don't want you don't want the extra space between your sources. Okay, so here we go. And of course, but once you do that, you're going to see that some of these are going to be way over here. And this one is going to be like that. And this one's going to be like, I mean, they're going to be just different. So what you do is you go up here, because here's your 1-inch margin, right? Click your cursor right before the quotation mark on do, and you see a little white tag there. You're going to move it over to the 1-inch margin. And notice that the alignment is great, but we have a problem here. Now that's aligned, but remember your first paragraph, or your first sentence, has to be indented. Okay, so these are all okay here, but make sure they're all on the 1-inch margin. Like I said, I guarantee you're going to have problems with it, because y'all already have had a problem with it. I think I had one group that didn't have any problems with that. But everybody else kind of had to struggle with it. All right, so that's how I want you to align these things. Okay, I'm going to stop the share here for just a minute. And then I'm going to go back to your paper. All right, so yeah, that's that part I told you to check. I would just put ace there. Just put ace. I wouldn't even put group. Right here, I said, wow, I need my readers. Insert and center your critical preface under your title. So if you go back and look at the sample, you're going to hit enter after society. It's going to be double space, critical preface, capital C, capital P, hit enter. Okay, and then you go on here. Okay, no first person pronouns. Questions we have. I don't care what y'all did. Just say the guiding questions dwell upon the order of such and such and such and such. You don't have very many guided questions. Go back and read that again. There are several things that you need to ask. 20, that needs to be a lowercase t. Now my goal is to just work on content development and critical thinking. because you need critical thinking to know what would work for a paper like this or how you could use this source. I'm sorry, my throat is going. So if I catch the mistakes, good. If I don't, and I catch them on the final, that's on you. Excuse me. But I find myself trying to correct grammatical mistakes that kind of detract from what I'm trying to get. That's why it's taking me a long time to read these, because sometimes I can't get through the grammar part and the just capitalization errors and punctuation, and you know how your English teachers are. In fact, some of your other teachers are like that too. Bless them. Okay, so make that a lowercase 20. You were correct. I would put more guiding questions in. You were correct in the fact that if it's under 100, you spell it out. And you could have put the Arabic 20 in parentheses after that. That would have been fine. Now, since this is at the bottom of the page, I don't know why it keeps doing that. It's so weird. Okay, I would put this on the next page. Okay, so let's go to the next page. What is wrong here? Okay. Page 2. I just want to see one at a time. Well, so be it. I don't want to do this all night. All right, so right here, it says that take everything except biochemical pharmacology out of italics. Okay, this is the only thing that should be in italics. Take the rest of it out. I don't know why that was done, but anyway. This, click on, and it says no italics on via. Yeah, you made that with italics. Take that out. Okay, same thing here. You're going to take everything out of italics except for, let me click, there we go. This, drugs, education, prevention, and policy. Okay, let's move on to 3. Let me make it bigger. Okay. So that was 2. All right, this one here. Yeah, that's again, you're going to take everything out of italics except for people and academic search complete. And all of those letters, the first letters are capitalized. So the C on complete also would be. Okay. As you know, if you've got 20 different annotated bibliographies, or you've got 25 in some cases, it's so boring when it starts with this article, this article. There are other ways you can say it. You can say the source, this text, the selection. You could start with the author's name and say so and so aims to draw more attention to the issue of blah, blah, blah. You don't even have to put article there. Okay, then here, this says extra lies between, yeah, Remember when we checked that, when we went to paragraph and we checked that off that says do not add an extra line, because this is what it looks like. It doesn't look like 4 lines, but it looks, you see my little eye cursor there? Okay, now this is off. This is the 1-inch margin. This needs to come over, which means the rest of it's going to come over with it. But it still needs to be indented underneath. You just need to take Hammond back over there. Yeah, that's what I explained there. Okay, I would say instead of in this article, just say Hammond Christopher. You'd say Christopher Hammond and his colleagues evaluate what blah, blah, blah. Okay, this one, insert a comma because that is a compound sentence. This one, oh, take this back to the 1-inch margin, that name. I would strike this out and say Harding views the symptoms that come from overdose, blah, blah, blah. Or Harding review. Yeah, reviews instead of review because it's just one person. Okay, this needs to also be taken back because if you can kind of look up there, she needs to be taken to about there. To the left margin. Okay, in this article, let's see, I have to say there. Oh, yes, you've got doesn't. You can't have any contractions. It's does not. You put shouldn't, should not. This is a formal paper. We don't shorten stuff with it. Okay, again, this is academic search complete. It's the C is capitalized and the whole thing is in italics. And that's what this should tell you. Okay. This one right here is an improper citation. Whoever this belongs to, you need to read this and do what I told you to do on it. Okay, there's way too much of a gap here. This says, yeah, take the title back to that left margin. This one says, refrain from saying there are, there is, it is, and go ahead and just use as few words as you can. So consider saying drug distribution can be described in 2 ways, and then put a period, and then you can go ahead and continue what you were saying. Okay, this here. Go to the left margin, take all of this out of italics, except for Brown University all the way to letter and academic search complete. Too much space here, but if you checked that, do not add extra space. Like I showed you at the beginning, you should not have a problem with it. See the extra lines, you don't want them to have that. Okay, and so this one, whoever did this actually, you should line them all up like that one is, because that is at the 1-inch margin. The only thing that person needed to do is just take the, hit tab, and it would come over here, and then commonly and answered would go to the right of this line. Okay, McCardle needs to go back to the margin. See, this is this, you can tell this is a left margin here. That's the left margin. Okay, and then again, the left margin here, left margin here. Incorrect citation. Do what I advise you to make it correct. No contractions. I think you said don't. Do not would be correct. Okay, this one here needs to be taken to the left margin and it's incorrect. Rogenberg needs to be taken back to that margin. Now, if you're one who put everything in italics, you need to change that. The only thing that should be in italics is your journal or periodical, and if you have academic search complete. You see, that's way out of line there. Okay, that goes back here. This one's at the left margin line, but that person needs to take everything out of italics except for that and academic search complete. Complete should have a capital C. And then you would start your paragraph here on the first slide and then line everything else up under that. Oh, goodness. Okay. Take all this extra space out. Again, I'm showing you that the margins are way off. Take out the extra space here. Okay, so the rest of it is that. Now, I do want to say this, that I think that the people who had incorrect citations did not use, especially if it was an academic search complete, you did not use your citation from your PDF or HTML. One of them is an HTML, one's a PDF. And I don't understand that, because back when I went to college in the 70s, when we had to read not one novel a week, it was several novels a week, because we were taking different English classes. We had to write papers on all of them. And we had, well, I didn't have an electric typewriter, but it wasn't really all that great. We had to type everything. We could not align things like, well, I didn't even know what justified meant until I was an adult. You don't need to be using that in this class either. But nevertheless, I would have given anything to be able to go to a site like you guys can on Academic Search Complete. You pull up the article and you pull, and you can email it to yourself, and it sends you a citation in MLA. And just copy and paste, maybe make a few tweaks, change it to Times New Roman, double space it, hanging indent, do all of that. Do you know how much time that saves? Imagine having to do a novel and read like 5 commentaries a week and having to look up all of these sources and format them myself from a book, not even online. We didn't even know what that was. So that's why I don't understand why y'all don't take the easy route and go to Academic Search Complete. If you, yeah, I would email it to yourself. Otherwise, you can go over to the right-hand side and click on this little icon and it says Cite, C-I-T-E. Scroll down to MLA. All right, so that is this. And what I want you to do, everyone, it looks like needs to work on his or her own. Also check Noodle Tools to see if I wrote anything to you there. But once you put all of these together, Get them aligned. And if you're still having problems, then have Esther or whoever is the team leader to get in touch with me. So you by email. So let's go over here. I just now noticed this. Now, see, if this would have been like this on the final paper, I would have counted off. I would go ahead and put next Tuesday's date, even though you probably will turn it in before. So let's see. Next Tuesday's date is the 10th. So you could go 10 capital M on May and do that. Okay, thank you so much.